This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration. This podcast is sponsored by Ep11 Consulting, editing with a purpose. Check them out at ep11consulting.com for a free consultation. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Scooter. Thanks for pulling up a chair with us.
We are not experts on any of these topics, but we are hoping to spark something.
Like an idea, a conversation, or even a revelation.
Well, let's give it a shot.
Let's talk about stuff.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Sarah.
Yes, she is Sarah. I am Scooter. And we are here again.
We're back. Thank you for listening.
Why are we here?
We're going to talk about some stuff.
Oh. Yes?
Yeah.
We can do that. What stuff are we going to talk about?
Stuff and things. We're talking about right now what we're talking about?
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
So, we're going to talk about some advise me not things called gut health, brain health. But first, that's called a breech birth. But first. Oh, that is. We're going to talk about some good things.
Oh, and before that, it was like, when I say but first, I've learned that it's not a dad joke, it's a groaner.
Oh, jeez.
Okay?
Thanks, Alexis.
So there. Let's talk about a good thing.
Good thing! Okay, what you got?
The good thing... Oh, me, I have to go first. One of our kids got to go to Disneyland.
Yes.
Super amazing. Now, I want to make it more about me because I got a sweet, like, Avengers hoodie and a pin and stuff when she came back. But on the flip side, I guess she had a really good time.
Yes.
She got to hang out with her cousins and go on rides and buy silly things and not sleep and all that stuff, all the things you do at Disneyland.
And she's decided that we all need to go as a family.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
It's not on my to-do list, and I have...
You're going to offend some people.
Oh, I have some children that... Sorry, Ariel. It doesn't entice me too much, but I would love to go. It's one of those things, I grew up not wanting to go to the public pool, and then once I'm there, I never want to leave.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same experience.
I feel like everyone should go to Disneyland at least once.
Yeah, I've never actually been.
We'll
and most of my children have already been.
Yeah.
Multiple times in their lives.
All right, group trip. Who's willing to go? Let's all go together.
All right, that's the announcement right there. Who's all going? We're all going.
Planning a trip. Just kidding.
Why?
I don't know. We can't.
Why would you kid about planning a trip?
You know how hard it is to plan a trip with multiple people? We can't even get a trip for the 5 of us.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what planning takes. It gives me a headache.
All right, so my good thing was I got to go down to Fresno and go to a bachelorette party for one of my best friend's sisters. Very much fun. There was a party bus, went to a winery, it was good food and cake. It was something else. And I think it's funny to hang out with people and they're like, oh yeah, this person can really drink. Just wait. And then you're like, why are they throwing up already? Like, we've barely had anything to drink yet. Maybe I just drink too much, obviously, if I'm still standing. But that was really fun.
That's messed. There is some talk about that. Like, I've talked to some people who, like, they're scared of events coming up that are in person. Because I feel like a lot of people's alcohol tolerance has gone up.
Yes.
I've heard that from multiple people. They're like, we're going to start having more events going on and stuff like, but oh, dang.
Yeah.
So I do events for a living. Not really for a living, but it's part of what we do. But good thing the places we go to, they have good insurance.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with me.
It's crazy.
Have fun.
Yeah. So please remember, your at-home drinking ability is not your outside of home.
You don't
drinking
have
ability.
to. I mean, you don't have to get a ride. You just walk 15 feet if you can make it to your bedroom.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are forgetting about that. So be smart.
Yes.
Uber's still a thing.
Yes, it is.
It's okay to leave your car places.
Yes, it is.
But no, that's amazing. I didn't hear from her. We've said this other times in the podcast. When I don't hear from her very frequently, I just bumped the microphone and burped at the same time. So it was like everything fell apart.
Oh, goodness.
But I didn't hear from her for like hours on end. So when that happens, I know like, okay, things are getting silly and she's having too good of a time.
Yes.
So I need to figure out what to do with these kids. Actually, I only had one at the time. I only had one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good thing.
That was fun. All right.
Super fun.
Advise me not. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Speaking of meat and potatoes, let's talk about gut health. Dun, dun, dun.
What? Why is that a meat and potatoes thing? Why is gut health?
Because you eat it.
No, we're doing gut health and brain health.
Well,
why do you keep skipping the brain health?
No, because it goes together.
You keep saying gut health.
No, I said gut health, brain health last time. I said it real fast.
Off the microphone.
No.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure when we listen back, you're going to hear both.
I'm not going to listen back. I'm just going to press go.
That's okay.
And you guys get, realistically, if you listen to this podcast, you get most of this unedited.
Yeah.
You know why? Because we want you to hear the raw versions of ourselves, and I am really lazy about editing. More of the latter in there. I am actually quite lazy when it comes to editing. I was like, just leave it in. I think the first couple I over-edited.
Yeah.
But now you're getting like, I don't care. If somebody bumps a microphone, sorry about that. If it hurts your ears, tell me, and then I'll say get over it.
Yeah.
You know, let's just move on with our lives.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about gut health and brain health. And disclaimer, like we always say, we know next to nothing about these subjects.
Fact.
Okay? All we can tell you is about our personal experiences.
Yes.
So anything that we give a shout out to or promote or anything to that aspect, unless it's one of our sponsors, we don't sell these things. That we're not going, hey, we don't get residuals. We don't get anything out of you using or doing any of the things that we do ourselves. No. That's not our thing. No. Our company is, my company is about tabletop gaming. So if I'm pushing out a game, yeah, maybe. Yeah. And Sarah, you do auditing.
You're never going to see me.
No, it's not a thing.
Business.
I mean, unless you're
the insurance carrier and you need
or the accountant of a company, you might see her, but it's got nothing, you know.
No.
So we're not. That's not who we are. So know when we talk about things, because I'm actually going to mention a couple of things that have actually helped me in my life, just in general. And if it works and it's considered healthy, good for you, I keep doing it. And on the flip side, there's a lot of things that are not healthy for me, and I keep doing them too.
Right. Yes.
And I'm still trying to figure out how to balance all this stuff. So,
yes.
Okay, gut health, brain health.
You want me to go
Long
first?
disclaimer.
Okay, so nerdy side. There is some really cool things that have to do with your gut health. Like one of it's like your microbiome that lives in your gut, and that literally controls like your gut brain controls like your brain. And so like the more crap you put in your body and in your gut, the more jacked up your brain is. Short version.
What kind of Yahoo would tell you that kind of garbage?
A scientist. Don't ask your doctor because they don't tell you that stuff.
No, they don't.
Doctors are like, take a pill. Scientists are like, this is the way it works.
That sounds like voodoo.
I know.
What are you talking about?
Crazy. But it's super interesting. There's so many, there's like literally TED Talks and like legit scientists. I'm not going to say lots of doctors.
Don't say doctors.
Researchers.
People that are. Not that I never discredit doctors.
Right.
That's different. They're very specific in their field.
Yes.
Okay. But there's a lot of research that we have experienced and know of people that study it.
Yeah.
and research it.
Yes.
Do we practice it? No, it's not about practicing.
Sometimes.
It's about do what I say, not what I do.
No, sometimes.
Come on, we're parents. We get
Dude,
to say
we've
that.
done so much better, though, than we did many, many moons ago. So I think one of the most interesting things that we've done when it comes to gut health is we literally cut out everything that wasn't like a whole food. We did that for we actually did it wrong. We didn't know we could eat meat, so we just cut out meat for like weeks on end. And then we was like, you guys are eating meat? That's crazy. We cut that out. But if you cut out everything, like start at the basics and just go whole foods and then slowly allow things back in your system, it's so interesting to see what the foods not only do to your gut, but to your brain. Like things that make you super foggy or things that make you like, man, I am so exhausted now that I added this back into my body.
Fact.
It's so interesting, but you really have to take the time to like get back to the basics and cut everything out and then start over.
I mean, because that's the one thing that I learned when we did that. It was a few years ago when we did it. I knew I had some issues with some stuff, with some foods and stuff, and I didn't care. I really didn't. But when I figured out what they were, specifically what they were, I knew when I was going to feel bad the next day.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like waking up going, oh, my life sucks. Why am I so depressed? I'm going, I know why. I ate like half a pound of cheese last night. I found out some specifics in my life. Cheese is definitely one of them. All dairy is...
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say all dairy. I know that goat cheese doesn't affect me even close to as bad as cow cheese. Completely different. And also, like, really sharp cheddar does not affect me the way
Like
regular
Mott's
cheddar.
does.
Yeah, there's certain ones that it's just different. But when you start at the basics, it's kind of, I mean, if you're any sort of researcher or scientist, because I come from IT, right? So if you're any sort of researcher or you like to do any sort of, isolation when you're trying to troubleshoot something, even when you're working on a car or you're working on anything like that, you need to isolate it, and it's called the rule of halves. The rule of halves is I know it's not in this half of the system, so it's got to be in this half of the system. And then you put that in another half, and then you cut that in half, and you find out, okay, now it's in this, and the rule of halves. So, because you can really isolate an issue when you use the rule of halves when you're troubleshooting.
Yeah.
That's a really long way of me saying, if you can find that rule of halves when you add back cheese and something doesn't feel right, okay.
Right.
We know cheese is not something that's going in there. And then long term, you go, okay, I'm going to add back brie.
Yeah.
I'm going to add back my favorite cheddar. And then you go, okay, so now you're in the rule of, not really rule of halves, but you're in the rule of groups.
Yeah.
You know where you're going to go. I found out bread.
Yeah.
There are certain breads that just don't do well with me. Mm-hmm. But there's other breads that are totally fine.
Yeah.
But so I eliminated all bread. And I was like, wow, I feel quite a bit better. And then I kind of found out as you add things back, you can find those things that are going in there. But not only does it help with just the way you sleep, the way you treat people, you're less angry.
Yes.
But it also helps with like pollen. If you have allergies, it helps with everything else. Definitely, to me, it's sleep. That's a big one for me. If I eat certain things late at night, because I love to eat late night snacks.
Yes, he does.
Love them.
Ugh.
All I know is that when I make charcuterie.
Yep.
Charcuterie
A board.
A board of
Charboard.
cool foods on it. I know there's specific ones that I'm like, tomorrow I'm not going to feel awesome.
Yeah.
And most of it's going to be cheese.
Salted meats.
Salted meats, I feel okay the next day. I'm just very dehydrated.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the salt and stuff. So, but I know that the next day I was like, gosh, why am I... So, well, duh. I mean, so you compensate and drink more water. I'm like, we are not a health podcast.
No.
So, it's like I'm telling you ways to cheat. But gut health is a huge deal. I was like, I have a big gut. That's totally fine. I work on that, and then sometimes I don't. But knowing what you're putting in there means so much more than not knowing.
Yes.
When the first ingredient on this, I mean, read the package, guys.
Yes.
I mean, when you turn it over, it's like if the first ingredient is salt or sugar, please
Move
pass.
on. Yes.
I mean, because most natural food already has both of those things in it. So we're just pouring more of that crap in there, and now it's good for you. No, that's not how it works. It'll stay on the shelf longer.
Yes.
That's what that stuff's there for. So there's certain things that are plant-based. What was that one? God, I thought I was drinking like good almond milk and that stuff. What's that word?
Xanthan? Is it xanthan?
No,
Carrageenan.
Carrageenan, and that's plant-based.
Yeah.
But it's known, I mean, it's basically, you can't consume it. Like, your body can't consume it. It's not like fiber, where your body doesn't consume fiber and it passes through. It stays in there and makes all your, like, glands and stuff, they're like, swell up.
Yep.
And I was like, why am I feeling constipated all the time? I mean, I'm drinking almond milk and I'm doing all this stuff. And I was like, we found out it's carrageenan. I was like, there were certain gums.
Yeah.
That I loved Orbit gum at one time. And I still love Orbit gum, but they actually got rid of carrageenan after the years. Like, it's not even an ingredient anymore.
Yeah.
So there's some of those things in here. So, yeah.
It is interesting. I mean, you're literally doing a science experiment on yourself.
Yeah.
But I find it so worth it. And whether you choose to go, like, because there's so many, like, I feel like it's such a split lane on, there's people who only eat meat, which I find odd. Because my body, I couldn't do all meat. That's just my thing. I couldn't do a totally meat.
I think, well, I don't know. I mean, you probably couldn't, but
I couldn't do
there's
it.
certain meats that we don't have access to.
I agree.
Maybe that would be part of it.
Less processed meats, like,
just like, I mean, do you consider seafood meat?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you considered poultry meat.
Yes.
There's certain things that it depends on what you call meat, because there's people who eat crickets. Is that meat?
I think it's meat.
Okay. Realistically, if you have that diverse of meat, maybe it's really good. But
I mean, like, there's people who don't eat fruits and vegetables and just eat meat. I cannot do that. I mean, palate wise,
No.
I need some fruits and vegetables in my life.
Screw your palate. Think about it. You might be slim and trim with only eating meat.
Right.
But how brittle are your bones? How are your ligaments doing? How's all the other things in your body?
Crazy. And there's that weird thing when it comes to research. Like, there's this research of, like, vegan and no meat this is the way to go, and here's the reason why. And then there's this research of all meat and no fruits and vegetables, and here's the reason why, and you're still getting all of your vitamins and blah, blah, blah. So it's so interesting to see what your body is, but you're not going to know unless you start at the basics. So if you're like, I'm going to go all carnivore, then cut out everything. Cut out everything refined and just try that. If you're going to go all vegan, cut out everything and start with the basics and then slowly add stuff back in.
And on that same wavelength, doesn't matter if you have the exact same DNA as somebody else. Your diet's got to be different than theirs.
Oh, yeah.
There's no, and I don't mean diet like South Beach diet or paleo diet, or I'm not saying that. I was saying your diet is your diet. So if it works for other people and it doesn't work for you, move on.
Right.
I was like, don't, like, I'm doing it wrong. It's like, no, you don't have this, you're not the same person as that person.
Yeah.
So move on.
Yeah.
I mean, how many different varieties of dog food is there?
Right.
If you have a pet and they're like, oh, that's given that they're allergic to this, but my neighbor said this is perfect for cats.
Yeah.
Well, your cat is not their cat.
Right.
So it's different. So if we're going to pay that much attention to our animals, we're not doing the same thing for ourselves.
Yeah.
And everybody's, in a household even, I was like, we sit around, we have the same dinner every night. That sounds wrong. All of us eat the same dinner.
all 5 of us at the house share the same meal.
How do I? Yeah, we
Yes.
share the same meal, but it's not going to affect all of us the exact same way. It's going to be completely different. So we need to know that. We need to know that some people's diets require more fruit. Some people require more vegetables. Some require more meat. I mean, you can go meatless, but protein.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have, there's basics in there.
Yes.
Carbohydrates. I mean,
Yes.
I'm not the researcher or scientist, but all I know is this is all I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've seen that not one specific diet works for everyone.
Right.
That's never the case.
I think it's an interesting thing too. Like for us, it's pretty standard that we're going to have a protein, a vegetable, a starch, and maybe even sometimes fruit. But it's interesting because we don't. I mean, obviously we eat family style, and what people get on their plates, and who like leans towards more carbs versus like more starches versus more protein or versus more veggies, and none of our plates look the same.
No.
And which I think is really interesting because, I mean, it's the same ingredients, but when we all make our own plates,
Fact.
I tend to have less meat because I'm just not big on meats recently. So I tend to have less meat, more starch, more veggies. Scooter's more protein.
I
He's
have
more meat.
more veggies and meats.
Yeah, and less
Starches are a
starch.
little bit.
Yeah. The kids sometimes it's just a who knows? It's gravy.
One starch.
Who knows?
Sometimes it's just a big potato. And
Whatever
I'm
they
like,
can get away with.
Okay.
But it is interesting to see what your body craves versus what it needs and how everyone is so different in that way.
So on the, not the flip side, but in addition to brain health.
Yes.
Okay. So what you put into your body, that's what you get out of your body. I mean, all the research will tell you the exact same thing. And it'll affect your neural system and your brain, and we get that, the food part of it. But when it comes to your brain health itself, what other stuff can you, I mean, not that you suggest, but have we experienced besides gut
What do you mean?
for brain health?
Well, oh, what do you...
We were
okay.
talking about gut health, right? So gut health affects your brain directly.
Yes.
But in addition to that,
Well, what am I doing for my brain?
yeah.
Oh,
in addition
man.
to just gut health.
Trying to sleep more. Man, the amount of effort it takes to get, like, to go to sleep on time and get the right amount between 6 and 8 hours, I think is what they say for adults. It's actually really hard as an adult for me, to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I average like 5.5 hours usually. And I can feel it. There are days where by 1 o'clock I'm done. Like mentally, I have nothing left to give because I'm so exhausted and I haven't given myself enough time to like recoup and get my brain back to where it needs to be.
Is that sleep?
For me, that's sleep. Sleep for sure.
I mean, I'm saying that just for the podcast thing because I know it's because of sleep because I watch that happen to her daily.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to figure that one out because sleeping for me, I used to be very, very similar. I used to sleep like 3 to 5 hours tops. I have learned that if I'm tired, I'm going to keep sleeping. And cool thing is I have the luxury of doing that because of the companies we run and those types of things. Some people do not. So sleep is a huge, huge, huge part of it. Me, a big part of brain health is stimulation of the brain.
Yeah.
Your brain needs to be stimulated. Otherwise, I'm not a neurologist, know anything, but I just know how my brain functions, and I look at it as like neuron transmitters, and they just don't. If you're not using them, they do kind of go away.
Yes.
And if you're using them more, it will create more pathways in your brain. So they call it a boob tube for a reason. Realistically, and it's not like we're on our phones all the time. We really are. We're on our computers, we're on our phones, those types of things. But there are some mundane tasks that if we do them too often, or mundane entertainment that we do them too often, we don't stimulate our brain into something new.
Yeah.
So I would challenge some people. I always challenge myself to read more because I don't read enough.
So hard.
It's really hard because I feel like you're reading all day,
Right.
I mean, and we constantly, not for entertainment, but for work. Like,
Yes.
you're reading emails, you're reading texts, reports.
Yeah.
We're doing tons of stuff, creating reports, creating all this stuff. So we're looking at, if we're doing the same thing over and over and over, we're making that part of our brain stronger, but the rest of our brain is kind of going, okay, we need to shut off.
Yeah.
So what's really happening? Is that healthy? I don't think so. I feel like it's kind of like if you just work biceps all day.
Right.
That's why I look at it. I was like, if I'm just doing curls all day, I was like, cool. You can lift something directly up.
Right.
But can you move in any other direction? And I think your brain is a direct reflection of that. So, of course, sleep, stimulating your mind, and that means, like, I've said this before in the podcast, look up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, look around you. There's so many stimulating things around you. And I know that somebody that encourages, there's people that encourage you to do that around you. Follow those people. I mean, if you're on Instagram or you're on your TikTok or whatever, maybe follow those people that have those kind of things. Like, hey, have you seen this scenery? It's like, whoa, we ran into a cow today. When was the last time you saw a cow and you live in the city?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen, right? So, maybe check out those things. That'll stimulate your brain more than you think it will.
I do love going for walks. When I'm tired, I'm like, I need a break, or stuff's just a lot. I love going for walks and like rebooting my brain. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Yes, I like having conversations with you. That reboots my brain. That helps me, and I know that's selfish, but there are certain people in my life who's like having a good, stimulating, challenging conversation reboots my brain.
Yeah.
Now, if we have to talk about the weather,
Oh gosh, not the
done.
weather.
No.
Stupid.
So that's our very short synopsis on and it's only our synopsis, our opinion on gut health and brain health. Hey, if you want to look up facts, for God's sakes, look it up.
There's so much research.
And if you don't know how to do research, please learn how to do research. It's not on social media. Research to do that, it's not on social media. This is something I feel very strongly about.
It can be.
It's not on social media. It's not on Facebook. It's not on Instagram. It's not on TikTok. It's not on Twitter. That's not research.
Sure.
Okay? If you're doing research, do research.
Yeah.
Okay? Look at some people that did some studies. If you've gone to any sort of schooling at all, stay away from the .coms. I mean, this was the basics of doing any research paper. Even stay away from the .govs, realistically, but the .orgs, a lot of people that are independently, they fund themselves in a sense. They're not sponsored by any pharmaceutical company or any outlying source. They did it on their own. It was their own money, and they're like, I want to do this research. That's your best research. They're going to have an opinion, but at least you'll get a little bit. And cross-reference things. If 5 different places are that are independently funded, by themselves and are saying the same thing, it has a much higher chance of being true.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, I know that's advice that shouldn't have to be said in this day and age, but it does need to be said.
Yeah.
Because social media is not news.
No.
News channels are not news.
No.
Okay? So remember that in this day and age.
Yes.
I don't know who this is going out to,
That's your
but
PSA.
seriously, I was like, and have your own opinion on things, please, and do the homework.
That's a whole nother subject.
Do the homework. But that's me with gut. I'm not saying specifically on gut health and brain health. I mean, that's important. It was like somebody's selling this, and it was like, cool, that sounds great, but what is it?
Right.
Always question that.
Right.
So,
What's in it? Yep.
yeah.
All right. I liked it.
Sorry about that. I can rant on those ones.
Rant over.
Yes.
All right. What you got?
Shout out!
Woo! Shout out. Do you want me to go first?
Oh.
Are you ready?
No, I'm ready, but
right.
you can go first. I went first on the other one.
Okay.
On the good thing.
So my shout out is to mi familia, I don't like buying stuff. It hurts my feelings to buy stuff for myself. I don't mind buying stuff for other people. So I recently bought a bundle from Samsung, and I didn't need it.
Nope.
Not at all. But I appreciate that I have it now. And I will keep it now for the next 6 years like I did the last stuff I had. And I appreciate my family for talking me into buying it, because I almost sent it back because I have bad buyer's remorse.
Don't. But,
so I appreciate
but you
my family.
never... I mean, realistically, we all know you. And you don't return crap.
No.
Even when you, like, intentionally... even though it doesn't fit... It can be like the wrong everything, and it'll sit in a bag for the next 3 years. Then you can't return it, and then we give it away.
Yeah,
we donate it to somebody. So returning stuff's not your thing. No. So once you clicked order, we're like, we're good. We knew you were going to get this into her, and we were going to get this into her hands. She's got a new phone. She's got a new smartwatch. She's got what else? New smart headphones. The whole mess. So I'm proud of you for taking that leap.
Still hurts.
It's been years.
I know.
It's not a joke, everybody out there. It's been probably 2 years.
Oh, it's been longer.
2 years than I've been pushing.
Oh, okay, yeah. You've been pushing for 2 years.
I've been pushing for 2 years, and finally we have enough kids in the house that are now old enough to where they're like, you really should be doing this.
I know. I thought I'd get like one person on my side to send this back, and nobody was on my side. I was like, what is happening?
They want you to have cool stuff too.
I know. Okay? I don't like it.
And it's because you earned it. It's not about deserving anything. You earned it. You worked hard. We have the money. Go do it. Yeah. So that's... I wish I could piggyback on that shout out. But no, mine's different. Mine is, I had a really good time recently getting to know some people out at a brewery. Of course, I will mention in these podcasts, you will probably hear me give shout outs to people in the jiu-jitsu realm, martial arts, and breweries.
Yep.
Even though I run a gaming company. But I will give those too, because now that we're getting back into the swing of things of board gaming, you will hear a lot more board gaming stuff coming very soon because of some of the things that we have in the works. But in the meantime, I'd like to give a big shout out to Log Off out in Rancho in this area. Very amazing. They've been only open for a little over a year now. And... the concept is amazing. They have it's family basically owned, run, family and friends. But the concept of it is to log off, because it's called log off. It's log off of your computer, log off of your social media, log off and go do something with other people.
Yes.
Take a hike with some people. It is a brewery, so yes, go have a beer with them. Games, they're very game oriented, and we got to know them. Friend of a friend type of thing, and whether we do a ton of work with them, we're going to do some partnershipping, and is that a word? Partnershipping?
I don't think so. That's okay. Partnering.
We're partnering?
Yep.
Partnershipping?
Nope.
I can make up whatever I want.
Partnering.
We were doing some stuff with them in the near future, and hopefully that goes into something much bigger. Just know that going out there, and big shout out to Jim, Matt, and Kenny.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the moms of Log Off.
Oh gosh, that's what I mean. It's a very family friendly, pet friendly, and the food there is, they've stayed open over this the pandemic that we had. The only reason they're open is because of moms of Log Off. They cooked food and have a catering license, so you could go in this whole year. They opened during a pandemic.
Yep.
During it. So, and they're still there and doing decently well. So
their space is fantastic.
People is fantastic. And I'm, over the last 5 years, have become a huge beer snob.
Yeah.
And their beer is really good.
Yes, it is.
Okay? I don't say that unless it's really good. You won't hear it on here. You won't hear it from me unless it's really good. And their beer is really good.
Yeah.
they're nerds.
Yeah.
They come from the IT industry, so
Yep.
they're nerds. So, all right, guys.
Good shout out.
Very exciting. We will see you very soon. You'll
Next
listen to
week.
us. You'll listen to us very soon.
In 7 days, we'll be back.
From wherever. From wherever we are right now.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Okay, let's talk about Ep11 Consulting. They help you create so many things. A perfect personal statement, application essays, presentations. They help create writings that truly represent you. They've got writers, editors, and even researchers. Ep11 Consulting can make all your stuff easy to read, understandable, and enjoyable. They truly take editing to the next level. Not only do they have flexible rates, they also offer assistance with college applications and job seeking. Check them out at ep11consulting.com and get a free consultation.